travel far now retreating. I've longed for this place, longed for this place for so long. Now I lay me down and be long. And I breathe in the air fresh from the blessed Midwest. I am held by the forest where I go for rest, and washed by the waters of Lake Michigan. And wherever I go, I will return again to my home, the blessed Midwest. I am torn, I am bleeding. See many souls, many holy. Remember their faces, remember their facing home. Oh, till we meet again, till we meet again. Oh, oh. And I breathe in the air fresh from the blessed Midwest. I am held by the forest where I go for rest, and washed by the waters of Lake Michigan. And wherever I go, I will return again to my home, the blessed Midwest, the blessed Midwest. And I breathe in the air fresh from the blessed Midwest. I am held by the forest where I go for rest, and washed by the waters of Lake Michigan. Wherever I go, I will return again to my home, the blessed Midwest, the blessed Midwest.
The streets feel alive, we're mixed with light. Ghost town blown down, and life shines bright. Going fast, such a blast on a train, on a boat, on a plane. So good to feel the rush again, and it's never coming down. We're invincible. You and I can, we take a spin down the highway, never let go. So we drive to the show and we shout, we don't know how it goes. So good to feel the rush again, and it's never coming down. We're invincible.
Now I see two screens. Okay. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Calling All Californians in Agriculture, hosted by California Grown. My name is Don Zay. I'm the current chair of the Buy California Marketing Agreement, otherwise known as California Grown, of course, and also executive director of the California Prune Board. I'll be your moderator for the discussion today as we reflect on the vital importance of California agriculture, showcase a few of California Grown's latest activities, and most important, hear from you towards the last half of the program. I'd like to start by providing a little bit of a personal perspective about California Grown. For those of us that have been around agriculture for so long, maybe more years than we'd like to admit, we know how hard it is to get these collective organizations, agreements, campaigns together and for them to be sustained over time. We're just so busy with so many of our own activities and working on behalf of our own constituencies. And over the years, I've seen a few of these sometimes good programs come and go for lack of resources and just too many distractions. Then in 2001, the Buy California Marketing Agreement, funded in large part by a federal specialty crops grant that was passed down to the state in the form of a block grant. You'll maybe recall that it was approximately $40 million, along with some industry participation, birthed that, or rebirthed, I guess I should say, that little blue license plate logo that we all now know. Our board members and extended partners in the program from that time forward have been very passionate about the program. And, you know, with the purpose of connecting what we all do and those that we represent with consumers in California and at times beyond California, even around the world. While we all work to deal with so many regulatory challenges and things on the policy front that create obstacles for our handlers, our growers, farmers, ranchers, et cetera, California Grown is a program that strives to meet consumers on their terms and to share information that is important to them. Admittedly, the program has struggled at times, but now, in my opinion, maybe stronger and more relevant than ever before, particularly in the times that we're now living in. We have the largest number of farmer, rancher, vintner, dairyman, you name it, agriculturalists we've ever had involved on the board as licensees and at the opt-in program level, which you'll hear more about. So today we look forward to sharing with you a few examples of that strength and relevance. So now on to the program. Before we get started, a little bit of housekeeping. I want you to be aware of a few logistical details. First of all, you know that using Firefox, Google Chrome, or Safari in that order is the way to maximize the experience. During the program, you're going to have an opportunity to ask questions. There should be, and I'm not seeing it, so bear with me, but there should be a program box that will allow you to type in questions, and please put your name in there. You may have to scroll down in order to be able to see that. And you can send that. We will then answer those questions as we can in the last 10 minutes of the program with the guests that I'm going to be introducing. So please take advantage of that. As well, if your questions aren't answered, we'll follow up with email to answer them if we can. And then a video recording of the entire session will be available on the California Grown website at californiagrown.org. Okay, so and now we're on to our first guest. So it's my great pleasure to introduce someone we all know, Karen Ross, Secretary of the California Department of Food and Agriculture. Secretary Ross has served in this position for 2 governors since 2011, after working on behalf of all of American agriculture as the Chief of Staff for Secretary Tom Vilsack. Prior to that appointment, she served as President of the California Association of Wine Grape Growers, as well as a VP of the Ag Council of California and other advocacy and political positions. Most important for us on the board, California of California Grown. Secretary Ross is the what I'll call the head of the California Grown fan club. We consider her a part of our leadership team. We wouldn't be doing what we're doing without her, and we very much appreciate her support. So, Secretary Ross, thank you for being here, and with that, I'll turn it over to you.
Good morning, Don, and thank you. You know I wouldn't miss it because I am your #1 fan for California Grown. And I really appreciate you giving us just that snapshot of history because much has changed, including how we're able to use our specialty crop block grant program. But I really appreciate and admire all of the commodity groups and organizations that have stayed with California Grown and help build it into what it is today. And as you said, Don, there has never, ever, ever been a more important time for all of us in agriculture to rally around this wonderful program and think through all the ways it's helping us connect with our retailers, with food service, and with our customers. And that makes this program very unique. You know, everyone said it, man, there's never been a year like 2020. Like a pandemic wasn't enough. We've had heat waves and record-breaking heat, and now we have wildfires. We've had the most uncertain markets in the last couple of years that we've ever had. And through it all, I have watched our farmers, our ranchers, our farm workers, all of the employees in this value chain pivot, adapt, be creative, even with the added stress of how do we protect workers? How do we secure really scarce PPE? How do we make sure that we've got all the tools that we need to be able to pivot from food service to retail or whatever else it was that we're facing, maybe going online for the first time because everybody's at home now and they're cooking more than they ever have before. But through it all, California agriculture has done what it does best, and that is feed people. Even in the gut-wrenching, abrupt disruption in our markets, our California farmers made sure that they were utilizing our Farm to Family program with the State Association of Food Banks to prevent waste and get produce and dairy and meat and eggs into food banks to nourish people at a time like we've never had demand like that before. So I don't have to tell anyone on this phone, I hope, how important California agriculture is to the state of California. It's easy just to talk about it in numbers. And even in 2019, with some of the trade issues that we were dealing with at that time, California agriculture once again produced slightly more than $50 billion of farm gate value, 400 diverse crops. How lucky are we to have that? They did it with adding value in this value chain of over $263 billion in revenues being contributed to this state. 1.2 million jobs, including jobs that actually support what we do at the Department of Food and Agriculture to keep the supply chain safe and keep it open and moving. We are here to feed people, and we are here to do it in the most sustainable way possible. California farmers and ranchers are responsible for stewarding 25 million acres of land. And what does that landscape mean to the state of California? We are a big, beautiful state. Even after fires, we will continue to be a big, beautiful state, celebrated for our diversity and for our iconic landscapes. We are a huge part of California tourism, being hospitality businesses that welcome people to our state and welcome people from our urban centers into our farmscapes, into our wineries, onto those agritourism events, food festivals up and down the state. Now, we haven't been able to do them in person this year, but they will come back. And I've been so in awe of how creative people have gotten with their online ways of introducing our samples, our tastes, our flavors to consumers in new and creative kinds of ways. It's because of this that we've seen what was already a growing interest in my food and where it comes from, that we've seen a whole new level of curiosity from our consumers. Sometimes it might feel like they're against us, but quite frankly, today's consumers are genuinely curious about who's growing their food and how they're producing it. They're very aware of what farmers and ranchers have been able to continue doing, and they're keenly aware of the farm workers being an essential part of the workforce and agriculture as part of our critical infrastructure. We are supplying more food than ever through the Farm to Family program, like over 160 million pounds this year at a time of tremendous need. And that's just going through our state program, because I know how many farmers and ranchers contribute food to their local food banks as well. So that's why I'm so excited that California Grown is announcing a proclamation to make October California Farmer and Farm Worker Month. It's a real opportunity to connect with retailers and consumers, to tell the story of what we do every day, how we are meeting that most basic human need, feeding people. You're going to hear more about that from our executive director, and I'm very pleased about our executive director joining us today. That recognition won't stop with just that proclamation, but I want to leave that for the next presentation. One of the things that has happened in this pandemic, and I'm here in my guest bedroom because I haven't had time to go get office furniture, is everything's gone virtual. But you know something? You can't telework planting a seed, milking a cow, or harvesting a crop. It's still people at the heart of feeding us. But in the meantime, we have pivoted. We've done more meetings online and teleconference. I think my favorite phrase from pandemic times is, excuse me, you're on mute. But guess what? That is allowing us to actually have more communications. And it's a way for all of us to come together virtually like we're doing today. We don't have to leave the farm. We don't have to leave the vineyard. We don't have to leave the dairy to come together around something as critically as important as this is, and that is sustaining agriculture, because agriculture is sustaining us. It is very appropriate that we take the month of October and think about it every day. How can we recognize and honor our farmers, our ranchers, our farm workers, and all those employees who stand behind a safe, accessible, abundant food supply? Thank you for letting me have a few minutes. I'm really looking forward to the presentation.
Secretary Ross, thanks very much for your comments and your continued great support of the program. As I said, we wouldn't be doing the things we're doing without your advocacy within the department and in the governor's office. You know, to underscore the point about how important the things we're doing now are in a time like this, for many of us, our shipments may have gone up during this time, and for some I know that are exposed to food source level, that may not be the case, but people are more connected to what they're eating and doing things at home than ever before. And as we like to talk about here at California, where we just hope that we can find the ability to carry that through into more normalcy, which we hope is soon to come. And so California Grown provides an opportunity for all of us to do that together in a way that really resonates.
It's a great platform.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So up next, we have somebody that Karen mentioned, our new executive director, Cher Angulo-Wadi. Cher's hardly new to this program. In fact, was chair of the board just prior to my taking over as chair, and served on the executive committee and the board, I believe, for 10 years or more, while she was leading the California Asparagus Commission. Prior to that, Cher served in marketing and policy positions for CDFA and the California Farm Bureau. And along with a fantastic team of contractors and advisors that we have that are all working synergistically to move this forward and to pivot during COVID and all of that, Cher has now come into the program and really solidified a strategic focus. And I'm really excited about what we've got ahead of us with Cher's leadership. So Cher, the screen is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Don. It really is an honor to be in this position at this time, as Don mentioned, where we have a team of marketing professionals that have just orchestrated the most amazing menu of campaigns over the past couple of months, and it's my pleasure to share that information with you. But first, I'm going to go back and explain how we got there. Dawn did give a little bit of insight into when Buy California was created. It was created nearly 20 years ago. We will be celebrating our 20th anniversary in 2022. And at that time, Dawn mentioned we had a fairly significant budget. And it was all kind of galvanized around the Buy California blue license plate. But as chances would be, Dawn mentioned I've been around Buy California since its inception, but I also was around at the California Department of Food and Agriculture when they tried to launch a predecessor campaign called Taste of California. That didn't take off, but the blue license plate, that iconic blue license plate did. And 18 years later, we're still going strong. The organization did go through its ups and downs, and it went through a major reorganization in 2014. And that reorganization and refocus is best illustrated and epitomized by the following.
I don't have any people to call your people.
I have never hugged a tree.
I never run in slow motion.
But I am a Californian.
So I always look for California-grown products when I shop.
Because I know when I buy products grown here.
We are helping to keep the farmers farming, the teachers teaching, and the whole state going strong.
So I can just go on doing my thing.
My thing.
My thing.
And that's what California's all about.
Right?
Be Californian. Buy California grown.
It was in 2014 that we launched what we very casually call California Grown 2.0. And it was at that time that we created a partnership with Visit California. Secretary Ross and President of Visit California, Carolyn Bettetta, came together in a recognition of the mutual benefit of promoting California wine and food as part of the California experience. As you can see off to the right-hand side are two beautiful illustrations of California's land and food and wine coupled into beautiful spreads. These happen to mark the final print ads that spreads that we did as Buy California, because as part of the California Grown 2.0, we pivoted to a digital format or digital promotion format, and that's where we are today. The gamble did pay off because we are now doing much more with a much smaller budget. Arnold's message to keep the state going strong, be Californian, Buy California Grown is back in the COVID days. What you see on the screen is currently what we are launching as part of what we now call the COVID pivot. The COVID pivot the pandemic was an opportunity to reinforce the message and entice California consumers to buy California. Californians supporting Californians is the crux of the campaign. In spring, we launched the We Love California campaign, which focuses on connecting the consumers to keep California grown in mind when visiting the grocery stores and farmers markets. The result is a robust, well-coordinated, highly collaborative retail and digital campaign. These images illustrate various aspects of the digital campaign. The center image is a peach slab pie that was done in partnership with the California Milk Advisory Board. The two larger images are digital components of our current Happy Hour at Home campaign, which is a collaborative between the dairy and wine industry as well as California Grown. Happy Hour at Home is a month-long digital and retail campaign enticing consumers to celebrate at home with celebration-worthy California food and wine. What grows together, goes together. The center image is an influencer campaign featuring charismatic food and wine experts who conduct compelling cooking classes and Instagram live streams featuring recipes packed with California-grown products paired with California wines. These campaigns have been wildly successful. To date, we've registered over 1 million impressions for the influencer program illustrated here. I should also mention that this campaign is an excellent example of how we're leveraging assets across different platforms. The recipes used on Instagram are also used in live feeds and in print media and as well as retail. The earlier slide was an example of the digital campaigns. This is an illustration of the most recent retail promotions. Promotions were conducted in many retailers, including Costco, Bristol Farms, Stater Brothers, Raley's, and Nugget Farms. You can see in Costco, we had a television commercial showing in their digital section of their store, as well as a banner hanging in a California Grown section, promotion section of the store. Bristol Farms produced a circular, and in addition to having in-store signage, they included our signage in their circular using our beautiful digital assets, again, utilized in several different platforms. In their text, they state that they are celebrating, as a retailer, celebrating the relationship with farmers and ranchers to bring the best of the Golden State to consumers each and every day. I touched on the Raley's Happy Hour at Home campaign, and the other 2 or 3 images are from the Raley's execution of that activity. Yesterday, Secretary Ross and I had the pleasure of touring a Raley's store and seeing exactly how it's being executed. Again, thank you, Secretary Ross, for your participation. I think we had a very great time, and it was wonderful to see the campaign in full force. Happy Hour at Home is a fabulous example of the highly collaborative campaign in both the retail and digital areas. In addition to the anchor partners of dairy and wine, the campaign features 12 additional commodity partners, and there is not a time that it's not being utilized in some way, shape, or form. As a matter of fact, today, before I logged onto this webinar, the creative team was emailing and texting back and forth slide decks of new photography and checking on the status of a live feed with Good Day Sacramento with Raley's and one of our chefs regarding Happy Hour at Home. Later today, there is an Instagram live stream on what grows together goes together. Pairing foods with wine. I now would like to pivot over to our latest initiative, the Farmer and Farm Worker Month. As Secretary Ross mentioned, we are designating the month of October California Farm and Farm Worker Month. This is a new initiative in which we want to acknowledge the agriculture industry's contribution to our community's health and well-being. The following is an example of the imagery we will be sharing throughout the month, motivating people to participate in Farmer and Farm Worker Month. Throughout the month of October, we will continue to share Farmer and Farm Worker Month messaging to keep California agriculture in the forefront of the consumer's mind, encouraging purchases of California-grown products in support of our farmers and farm workers who worked tirelessly through the COVID pandemic to provide a safe and nutritious food supply. So, what is it that you can do to help and get involved in California Farmer and Farm Worker Month? The first is you can utilize our Farmer to Farm Worker Month social media toolkit. At the conclusion of this webinar, you will be emailed a copy or a copy of our toolkit. The toolkit includes a number of suggestions and options on how you can get involved in promoting the activity. One sample post, social media post, states, California farmers and farm workers worked 365 days a year in all weather conditions, day and night. Every day they show up, they work hard, and they adapt. Thank you to all the farmers, ranchers, farm workers, vintners, dairymen and women, packers and shippers. The toolkit is a way for you to multiply the messaging for this campaign. Secondly, you can share our posts. We will be posting very frequently our own messaging regarding the California Farmer and Farm Worker Month message. Tell your stories. This is really important. We have a lot of stories to tell in our industry. We aren't typically the type of people to talk about ourselves, but now is our time. It's time to share our successes, our special relationships, unique and specialized jobs that may exist in your operations. Tell those stories. Let the consumer know who's behind their food supply. Finally, we have a continuation of the Happy Hour at Home campaign going into October as in our retail programs. We are going to leverage the successes of the current program with Bristol Farms, Nugget Farms, and Rayleigh's family of fine stores. We will have both in-store displays and digital content. There is still room if you want to be involved, so please contact me after this to inquire about what it is that you can do to get involved in our retail programs. And finally, we want you to use the hashtag California Grown and encourage others to use hashtag California Grown. What is hashtag California Grown? Hashtag California Grown was launched, maybe 6 years ago. We did a promotion with the California Food Banks Association, encouraging consumers to to use the hashtag California Grown. In exchange, we would donate a pound of food to a local food bank. It's back. We are going to be utilizing this program throughout the next 13 months, culminating in a donation event in October of 2021 for next year's Farmer to Farm Worker Month event. How can you be involved in promoting this activity? Use it in your social media posts and encourage others to use it so that we can get additional food into the food bank system. Secretary Ross mentioned that we've already donated over 160 million pounds of food to the food banks thus far this year. That is the average contribution of farmers in an average year. So it's obvious that our industry is coming forward in a time of greatest need to support our food banks. And this is another way that we can engage our consumers to help us help our community. So let me share a little bit about what the consumer can do to be involved in our campaign. This is information that is available on our website. The first is we need to encourage them to buy California-grown food, wine, and flowers. In store, they should be encouraged to look for the license plate or California designation. If not available, look for the country of origin. If they don't see in-season California commodity options, ask their produce market manager to stock. Online shopping, indicate California-grown preference in notes. When visiting local farmers markets or grocery stores, or actually just farmers markets, ask them to actually thank their farmer for doing what they do every day. We are going to ask them to tag their favorite farmer on social media. And again, use the hashtag California Grown. And finally, we know that so many people are now cooking more at home and doing more exploration in the kitchen with their family. So we're going to ask the consumer to gather around the family table to enjoy a California-grown meal. To best direct the consumer to the resources available through California Grown, there are two websites listed at the bottom of the slide. The first will direct the consumer to the Farmer to Farm Worker landing page, and the second is the Buy California page that will help the consumer best identify the way to select California-grown products in their grocery store. As I just mentioned, October is just the beginning of this journey. We will plan to do an October Farmer to Farm Worker Month in 2021. In the future, we hope to expand it to restaurant promotions and community events. And we hope that you will embrace it and become part of the message to celebrate the California farmer, farm worker, vintner, rancher, dairyman, and all of the above, because we are definitely worthy of the recognition and gratitude. At the beginning, I mentioned how proud I am to be part of this team. I'm also really proud to be part of the California agriculture messaging. I come from an ag family. I come from an ag background. My family is involved in all facets of agriculture, and I welcome the opportunity to celebrate them in the month of October. We have much to be proud about. We're the #1 ag producing state in the nation. We support 1.2 million jobs, providing $263 billion in economic activity. Tell your stories and tell them frequently. In conclusion, I want to thank Dawn and Secretary for your participation and your support of the Buy California Marketing Agreement, California Grown. And I'd also like to give a huge thanks to our creative team that's worked overtime during the pandemic and hit it out of the park with their robust campaigns that are still being executed. So Casey, Connie, Adrian, and Steve, thank you for all you've done.
Sure, thanks. Nice work, and ditto on the thanks to the creative team. It's something that came to mind as Cher was talking, and that is that for a long, long time, I always thought of this program as much more of a kind of an altruistic kind of an activity that just made sense. It's good business, et cetera. But there really is a direct path to ROI on this, and even for consumer packaged goods like what the field we're in. It doesn't have to be fresh. The promotions we're doing at the retail level are things that the people that we serve individually in our own programs can really appreciate, and the metrics are there. And so I would encourage you all to think about this program that way, as well as something that maybe we should be doing collectively as agriculture in a state like this. Again, Cher, thanks. So we're now going to move on to take some questions. So I think we're going to bring the panelists are already up. So we have Secretary Ross Chair. We had a little bit of a technology thing going on here, but I've got some questions. May have been touched on a little bit, but I'm going to ask it again. Can non-members take part in retail promotions?
I'll take that for you, Karen. Actually, no, at this time, membership is required to be part of the retail promotions. If you're interested in discussing membership with me, we will share my contact information via email at the conclusion of this presentation.
And I would add that membership is a deal compared to the things that we all spend money on. Yeah. Karen, were you going to say something? I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say everybody should want to be a member because of the return on investment and the fact that this collective messaging matters in a state with so much diversity. I just can't say enough about the positives that come from being a part of California Grown.
Agree. Second question that came in, maybe we can elaborate on this. It was talked about, how can members promote Farmer and Farm Worker Month?
Members of Buy California?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yes, go ahead, Karen. I would assume it's members of Cal,
No,
but you know what? Before we go, good question. Go ahead.
No, I think it should be, everybody should want to do this. We read the stories every day. The level of concern about our farm workers and what people have seen with the smoke issues and everything, it's really important to tell the stories. Like, we've really ramped up our messaging about distributing 3.25 million N95 masks to make sure people are protected from wildfire smoke, 13.4 disposable masks, 1.1 million cloth masks, over 58,000 units of sanitizer, 350,000 pairs of gloves. People have reconfigured their processing and packing operations. There's so much that has happened that it's very important that we use this month to talk about the special relationships we have with our field workers and all of the employees that work in agriculture. Who wouldn't want to be able to talk about that, recognize it, and honor it?
Absolutely. Do we have any other questions? I don't think we do. Okay. If there are no other questions, let me make one more check here. Sorry about that, guys. No, we do not. So I'm going to wrap it up then. So that's our abbreviated message for today. Believe me, there's a lot more going on, but I hope you got a taste of just what California Grown is all about these days. And we would love to have every one of you consider being involved. This is a program that celebrates agriculture, the farm worker, the food and drink that we provide consumers, and meets them in their own place, whether it's online and social, at retail. We hope maybe that we've informed you a little bit and even enticed you to get involved. Please don't hesitate to reach out to Cher or to me or to any of the board members that are involved. All the information is on our website. We really do hope that you seriously consider it, and look forward to October as Farmer and Farm Worker Month, celebrating it together. So thank you all for spending some time with us today, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye-bye,
Don.
everyone.
Thank you.